Listen to me very carefully because what I'm about to tell you will either make you incredibly wealthy or leave you watching from the sidelines as the biggest financial revolution in human history unfolds right before your eyes. I'm talking about XRP and Bitcoin, and I'm not here to sugarcoat anything or give you false hope. I'm here to give you the raw, unfiltered truth about what's happening right now in the financial world. My name doesn't matter. What matters is that I've been in this game long enough to see the patterns, to understand the mechanisms that the elites use to keep you poor, and I've positioned myself to profit massively from what's coming. And what's coming is going to shock you to your core. The traditional banking system is crumbling, not tomorrow, not next year, but right now as we speak. And the people in power know it. They've known it for years. While they've been feeding you lies about stability and safety, they've been quietly positioning themselves for the biggest wealth transfer in modern history. And guess what? XRP and Bitcoin are at the center of it all. But before I dive into the explosive information I have for you today, let me ask you something. When was the last time your bank gave you a real return on your money? When was the last time your savings account actually made you wealthier? I'll tell you when. Never. Because the entire system is designed to keep you poor while making the rich richer. You see, while you've been storing your hard-earned money in banks getting a pathetic 0.01% interest, those same banks have been using your money to make themselves millions. They lend your money to home buyers at 6%, to credit card holders at 23%, and they're keeping all the profits while giving you scraps. It's the biggest scam in human history, and most people are too blind to see it. But here's where it gets interesting. There's a revolution happening. And it's happening whether you participate or not. The old guard is being replaced by something they can't control, can't manipulate, and can't print more of. I'm talking about decentralized digital assets that operate outside their corrupt system. XRP isn't just another cryptocurrency. It's a weapon against the traditional banking system. Right now, when you send money internationally, it takes days, costs you ridiculous fees, and goes through multiple correspondent banks who all take their cut. It's inefficient, expensive, and completely outdated. XRP solves this problem in seconds for pennies with perfect settlement. But here's the kicker that most people don't understand. XRP has a fixed supply of 100 billion tokens. Not one more token can ever be created. And every single transaction burns a small amount of XRP, making it deflationary. While your dollars are being printed into worthlessness, XRP becomes more scarce and more valuable with every transaction. The banks know this. The financial institutions know this. That's why they're not fighting XRP anymore, they're adopting it. JP Morgan, Bank of America, Wells Fargo, they're all testing and implementing blockchain technology for cross-border payments. They've seen the writing on the wall. Now let's talk about Bitcoin, the king of digital assets. 21 million Bitcoin will ever exist. That's it. No government can print more. No central bank can dilute it. And we're already at the point where only about 1 million Bitcoin remain to be mined over the next 100 plus years. Do you understand what that means? We have major corporations like Tesla, MicroStrategy, and now even countries like El Salvador buying Bitcoin as a treasury asset. Institutional adoption is happening faster than anyone predicted. And while retail investors are still asking, is Bitcoin real? The smart money is accumulating as much as they can get their hands on. But here's what really gets my blood pumping. The Trump administration is all in on Bitcoin. Eric Trump just went public saying Bitcoin is the modern day gold. The Trump family has founded American Bitcoin, a company that's mining Bitcoin at a 50% discount to market value while accumulating massive positions. These aren't crypto enthusiasts. These are business moguls who understand wealth preservation better than anyone. Think about that for a second. The wealthiest, most connected family in American politics, is betting big on Bitcoin. They're not just buying it, they're mining it, accumulating it, and building their entire financial strategy around it. If that doesn't tell you something, I don't know what will. Now, I need to be brutally honest with you about something that most financial educators won't tell you. The system you've been taught to follow, go to school, get a job, save in a 401k, is designed to keep you enslaved to debt. You've been programmed to think that borrowing against your future self is normal. You refinance your house when rates drop, you get excited about more debt, and you spend every extra dollar you get instead of investing it. The wealthy don't do that. When interest rates drop and they get extra cash flow, they don't go buy more stuff. They take that cash flow and put it into assets that beat inflation. And inflation isn't the 2% they tell you it is. Real inflation is much higher when you factor in housing, healthcare, education, and energy costs. Your money is losing purchasing power every single day. While you're holding dollars, I'm holding assets that appreciate faster than the dollar depreciates. That's the game. That's how wealth is built and preserved. Let me give you some real numbers that will blow your mind. My XRP position is up over 800% since 2020. My Bitcoin position is up over 200% since the same period. While people were panicking about market crashes and economic uncertainty, I was systematically accumulating deflationary assets that can't be manipulated by central banks. And this is just the beginning. We're entering what I believe will be the most explosive bull market in cryptocurrency history, but it's not going to last forever. And the window of opportunity for regular people like us is closing fast. Here's what's happening right now that the mainstream media won't tell you. XRP supply on major exchanges has collapsed by 90%. 90%! Do you understand what that means? When supply disappears and demand increases, prices explode. We're looking at a potential supply shock that could send XRP to levels that most people think are impossible. I've been tracking whale movements, institutional accumulation, and exchange flows. The smart money is moving massive amounts of XRP off exchanges and into cold storage. These aren't day traders or speculators. These are institutions and high net worth individuals who understand what's coming. Bitcoin is showing similar patterns. With only 450 new Bitcoin mined every day and massive institutional demand, we have a supply and demand imbalance that's unprecedented. When supply is limited and demand is increasing exponentially, basic economics tells you what happens to price. But here's what separates me from all the other people talking about crypto. I have a system. I don't just buy and hope. I don't get emotional about price movements. I have a disciplined approach that focuses on one thing: beating the hurdle rate. What's the hurdle rate? It's the minimum return you need to beat inflation and actually grow your wealth. Right now, with real inflation running much higher than the official numbers, you need your investments to grow at least 8 to 10% per year just to maintain your purchasing power. Anything less, and you're getting poorer even if your account balance goes up. My strategy is simple but powerful. I dollar cost average into my core positions: XRP, Bitcoin, and a few other carefully selected assets, regardless of market conditions. I'm not trying to time the market. I'm accumulating assets that I believe will be worth significantly more in the future. When these assets appreciate and I'm in profit, I take money off the table systematically. I don't get greedy. I don't listen to influencers telling me about super cycles that will never end. Markets go up, markets go down. The key is to profit on both ends of the cycle. Here's my exact portfolio allocation, and I'm sharing this not because I want you to copy me, but because I want you to understand how someone who's actually making money in this space thinks and operates. My largest holding is XRP. I believe it's going to be the backbone of the new financial system. Every major bank is testing blockchain technology for payments, and XRP is the most efficient solution for cross-border transactions. As the old correspondent banking system dies, XRP fills that void. My second largest holding is Bitcoin. It's digital gold, a store of value that can't be debased by governments. As fiat currencies continue to lose value, Bitcoin becomes more attractive as a treasury asset for individuals and institutions. I also hold positions in Solana, which I believe is the fastest and most scalable blockchain for applications and transactions. Stellar Lumens, which works hand in hand with XRP for certain payment corridors. Hedera Hashgraph, which has partnerships with major corporations and governments. And VeChain, which solves supply chain transparency issues. These aren't random picks. Each one serves a specific purpose in the new financial ecosystem that's being built. I'm not diversified across hundreds of altcoins, hoping one hits it big. I'm concentrated in the projects that solve real problems and have real adoption. Now, here's where most people mess up. They see these gains and they think crypto is easy money. They think they can just buy anything and get rich. That's not how this works. For every story of massive gains, there are hundreds of stories of people who lost everything because they didn't understand what they were doing. The crypto market is brutal. It will chew you up and spit you out if you're not prepared. The volatility will test your emotional strength in ways you can't imagine. One day you'll feel like a genius. The next day you'll question everything you thought you knew about investing. But here's the secret that successful investors understand. You have to remove emotion from the equation. When Bitcoin was $15,000 and everyone was calling it a scam, I was buying. When XRP was 0.20 and everyone said it was worthless, I was accumulating. When fear was at its peak, I was at my most aggressive with my buying. The masses are always wrong at the extremes. When everyone is euphoric and talking about getting rich quick, that's when you should be cautious. When everyone is fearful and saying crypto is dead, that's when you should be accumulating. Right now, we're at an interesting inflection point. We're not at maximum fear anymore, but we're also not at maximum greed. We're in that sweet spot where informed investors can still position themselves before the next major wave of adoption and price appreciation. But time is running out. Every day that passes, more institutions enter the space. Every day, more wealthy individuals allocate portions of their portfolios to digital assets. Every day, the opportunity to buy at these levels becomes smaller. I'm not telling you this to create fear of missing out. I'm telling you this because the data supports it. The on-chain metrics, the institutional flows, the regulatory clarity, everything is pointing toward a massive expansion of the cryptocurrency market. And it's not just about price appreciation. It's about participating in the future of finance. When your bank is closed, Bitcoin operates 24/7. When your bank freezes your account, you can still transact with crypto. When your government inflates away your savings, your Bitcoin maintains its purchasing power. This is about financial sovereignty. This is about taking control of your own money instead of trusting it to institutions that don't have your best interests at heart. This is about being your own bank. Now, let me share something with you that most people don't understand about wealth building. Money compounds at roughly 10% per year over long periods. That means your money doubles every 7 years if you can consistently achieve 10% returns. But what if you can do better than 10%? Bitcoin has averaged roughly 50% annual returns over the past decade. If you can compound at 50% instead of 10%, your money doubles much faster. Instead of 7 years, we're talking about less than 2 years. The mathematics of wealth building become exponentially more powerful. But here's the key. You have to think in cycles. Crypto doesn't grow 50% every single year. It has explosive bull markets followed by brutal bear markets. The key is to accumulate during the bear markets and take profits during the bull markets. Most people do the opposite. They buy when prices are high because of excitement and fear of missing out. They sell when prices are low because of panic and despair. They buy high and sell low, which is the exact opposite of wealth building. I do the opposite. When XRP was under 0.30, I was accumulating aggressively. When Bitcoin was under $20,000, I was buying consistently. When everyone else was crying about their losses, I was positioning for the next cycle. And now, as we enter what I believe will be the most explosive phase of this bull market, I'm prepared. I'm not chasing prices. I'm not getting emotional. I have my positions. I have my exit strategy. And I have my plan for the next bear market. But let me be clear about something. This isn't financial advice. I'm not licensed to give financial advice, and I'm not responsible for your investment decisions. I'm sharing my personal strategy and my personal beliefs about where these markets are heading. You need to do your own research. You need to understand your own risk tolerance. You need to make sure you're not investing money you can't afford to lose. Cryptocurrency is highly speculative and extremely volatile. You could lose everything. But with that said, I believe the potential rewards far outweigh the risks if you approach this intelligently. The key is education, patience, and discipline. You need to understand what you're investing in and why. You need to have a plan and stick to it regardless of market emotions. Here's what I see happening over the next 12-18 months. I believe we're going to see XRP reach new all-time highs as regulatory clarity improves and institutional adoption accelerates. I believe Bitcoin will continue its march toward $100,000 and beyond as more corporations add it to their treasury holdings. But I also believe we'll see another major correction at some point. Maybe not an 80% crash like we've seen in previous cycles, but a significant pullback that will shake out the weak hands and create another accumulation opportunity for those who understand the long-term trends. The key is to be prepared for both scenarios. Have a plan for rising markets and a plan for falling markets. Don't get caught up in the euphoria when everything is going up, and don't panic when everything is going down. Now, let me share with you the most important lesson I've learned in my years of investing in cryptocurrency and building wealth in general. It's not about the money. I know that sounds counterintuitive when we're talking about investing, but hear me out. Money is just a tool. It's energy. It's a way to store your time and effort and deploy it in the future. The real goal isn't to accumulate money. It's to accumulate assets that produce more money. Assets that work for you while you sleep. Assets that grow faster than inflation and create compound returns over time. When I make profits from XRP or Bitcoin, I don't go buy a bunch of stuff. I take those profits and reinvest them into other cash-flowing assets. Real estate that generates rental income, businesses that generate profits, insurance policies that I can borrow against at low interest rates. The wealthy understand this concept. They don't work for money, they make money work for them. They don't store wealth in depreciating assets, they store it in appreciating assets. They don't consume their investment gains, they reinvest them to generate more gains. This is the mindset shift that separates the wealthy from everyone else. While most people are focused on earning more money, the wealthy are focused on acquiring more assets. While most people are worried about their job security, the wealthy are building multiple streams of income that don't depend on their time and effort. Cryptocurrency is just one piece of this puzzle, but it's a very important piece. For the first time in history, regular people have access to assets that can appreciate as fast as the assets that were previously only available to the ultra-wealthy. We can participate in the early stages of technological revolutions that create massive wealth. But you have to be smart about it. You have to treat it like a business, not like gambling. You have to have systems and processes and discipline. You have to be able to control your emotions when the market is trying to separate you from your money. The people who get rich in crypto aren't the ones who get lucky on one trade. They're the ones who consistently make good decisions over long periods of time. They're the ones who buy when others are selling and sell when others are buying. They're the ones who understand that wealth building is a marathon, not a sprint. So where do we go from here? What should you do with this information? First, educate yourself. Don't take my word for anything. Research XRP and Bitcoin and understand what problems they solve and why they might be valuable in the future. Second, if you decide to invest, start small and build your position over time. Don't try to get rich overnight. Don't invest money you need for living expenses. Don't let emotions drive your decisions. Third, have a plan. Know when you'll take profits and when you'll add to your positions. Know how much of your portfolio you're comfortable allocating to high risk, high reward assets like cryptocurrency. And finally, remember that this is about more than just making money. This is about understanding how money works and how wealth is created. This is about taking control of your financial future instead of leaving it in the hands of others. The old system is breaking down. The new system is being built on blockchain technology and decentralized finance. You can either participate in this transition or watch it happen from the sidelines. You can either position yourself to benefit from the greatest wealth transfer in history or be one of the people who gets left behind. I have made my choice. I have positioned myself and my family for what's coming. I have studied the patterns, analyzed the data, and placed my bets accordingly. Not because I'm gambling, but because I understand the fundamentals of what's happening in the global financial system. XRP and Bitcoin aren't just investments for me. They're insurance policies against a monetary system that's designed to steal your wealth through inflation and debasement. They're my way of opting out of a system that benefits the few at the expense of the many. And they're working exactly as I expected them to. While my friends and family worry about their retirement accounts and their savings being eroded by inflation, I sleep well at night knowing that my assets are appreciating faster than my currency is depreciating. This is the reality of the world we live in. You can either understand it and profit from it, or you can ignore it and become a victim of it. The choice is yours, but the window of opportunity won't stay open forever. The train is leaving the station. XRP and Bitcoin are leading the charge into the new financial system. You can either get on board now while there's still time, or you can watch it leave without you and wonder what might have been. I've given you the roadmap. I've shared my strategy. I've explained the fundamentals and the opportunities. What you do with this information is up to you. But don't say nobody warned you when XRP hits double digits and Bitcoin surpasses gold's market cap. Don't say nobody told you when the old banking system collapses and the new one rises from its ashes. The revolution is happening. The only question is whether you will be part of it or a casualty of it. Choose wisely, because this decision will determine your financial future for decades to come. Thank you for listening to my perspective. Whether you agree with me or not, I respect your right to make your own decisions about your money and your future. But I hope I've given you something to think about, something to research, and maybe something to act on. The future belongs to those who prepare for it. XRP and Bitcoin are my preparation. What's yours?